So in the previous video we saw what a data layer is and how it works, how to create data layer variables, and also how to create JavaScript variables. So in this video we'll see storing details of data layer. So firstly let's go to preview mode, and just scroll down and then click some buttons. Right. So now when I go to the summary and click, yeah, here we can find the current values of the data layer. So what this means is that uh, at this point the values of data layer were this. Then after initialization, the data this was added to the values of data layer. Then when container loaded, this was the data layer value. Once we reach scroll depth of 10%, this was the value of data layer. So in real time it adds the values as we go along, like as events are getting added, the data layer values of also get added. So this was for your scrolls, then this is for the click, and finally we have our summary where all the current values of the data layer reside, right? So now let's just go here, and now let's see how to push values into the data layer. So firstly we'll go to tags, and to push value into data layer we have to go to custom HTML. Since we are going to be pushing the value in a script, we have to select custom HTML, and then the script tag, since it is JavaScript, and then whatever the function is there you have to write it between these two tags. So for now I want to push something into my data layer, I want to add something, so data layer dot push. Alright, and remember that this is case sensitive, so the L needs to be capital here. Yeah, and then within the brackets you'll add your values, so we'll use curly braces for that, and then in JavaScript you always end with a semicolon. So whatever values I have to push, they'll come between these two curly braces. Push enter. So guys, there's a small correction or a change here. When you're writing the script for data layer push, you need to specify window as well. Like this is how your main line should look like, because it's telling you want to push it into the data layer, and where is it on the browser window. So you need to specify window as well. And this is where I'll add the values, and we'll start with single quotes, suppose. And as we had discussed in the earlier video, it always uh, stores variables in key value pairs. So this will be your key and this will be your value. So this is how it stores data in key value pairs. So now I have to push data. Suppose I am on my site and I want to know when the resume button is clicked. Now it's not linked to an anchor tag, meaning it won't go to a new page. If I click on it, it doesn't go to a new page, but if I uh, open link in a new tab, then it will come under link click. here we can see that link click tag fired. And if we go here, if you check out the click text, it says the value is resume, so we can use this. So I'll just put page section resume, right? So now it is ready. I just have to attach a trigger to it so the tag knows when to fire. So when do I need to push this value into the data layer? When the resume button is clicked, right? So I'll go to triggers here and I'll create trigger. Some clicks, and then again go back to the summary and click text equals resume, right? Click text contains resume. Or you can select equals or matches regex, right? Keep it at equals. Also, even this is case sensitive, so if the R is capital here, it needs to be capital here as well. And we'll name it resume button, right? Then we'll name this tag data layer push resume, right? So we'll click save here. So I'll just go into preview mode again. So if I were to just go to here, there's no link clicks, right? But if I click on resume now and go back to summary, you can see that the click the DLP resume tag has fired, and it fired because all the conditions were satisfied, right? Now suppose I wanted now firstly let's check if the values have been pushed into the data layer or not. So at this point they won't be pushed into the data layer. As you can see, there's no you can't find the value that we had inserted. But if you go to message and then go to data layer, then you might see page section resume. This is the value that we had manually coded. And similarly, if I were to create one for portfolio as well, then I'll go back again, new configuration, go to custom HTML, and the same process. Now one shortcut you can use is go to the previous one that you had created and copy it. So this time name it for portfolio. Similarly, change it to portfolio. We want page section to be shown as portfolio, and you even have to change the trigger. So we'll copy the trigger as well and change it to portfolio button. Even the condition we'll have to change, click text equals, change it to portfolio, right? Save. Save this. You can see both our tags have been created. Now if I were to go to preview, now firstly I'll click the resume button and click the tag wasn't changed properly. We'll have to edit the trigger for the portfolio. Yeah, I created a trigger for the portfolio, but I forgot to replace it with the resume button. So I'll remove this trigger and replace it with the portfolio trigger that we had created. So I'll save it now. Yeah, now we can see that the portfolio data layer push is set to portfolio button and DLP resume is set to resume button. So now when we go to preview, it will work. So we'll go to preview now, connect. Yeah, now if I were to click the resume button, the portfolio tag won't fire. Continue. Yeah, so we go on click and you can see only the resume tag has fired. The portfolio tag is not yet fired. But if I go back and click on the portfolio now, at this point the portfolio has still not fired, but when I go to this click, you can see the portfolio has fired, whereas the resume has not fired. Also, we saw that the data layer, the value does not get pushed on the click, but on the message that comes along with it. So first click and then message page section was resume, and then on the second click, when we clicked on it, the page section changed to portfolio. Again, it happened in the message event, not on the click event itself. So we need to remember that the event that follows the click event, which is usually the message event by default, that's where you will be able to see the value that you had pushed. So now, how can we simplify these tags? We already know we have created these tags, but they are two different tags. What if I wanted one tag to fire and give me both of the information? Alright, so what we had seen was we had taken the click text, right? So now we'll just go here, we'll go to DLP resume, and what we'll do is in this itself we'll change the page section to click text. So what happens here is whatever text is present in the button that's clicked, that will appear here. Suppose we click resume button, so the click text there is resume, right? So page section will show us resume, but if we click portfolio button, the click text is portfolio. So even here we'll get the value portfolio, right? And we'll even have to change the trigger then. So we had this trigger, right, and it fired when click text equaled resume, and click text matches regex resume or portfolio. So what we've done is we've used an or operator here. So if either of these conditions are fulfilled, then the tag will fire, right? Resume or portfolio. So we'll save it. Now hopefully this works. Resume and portfolio section, right? Save. Now we don't need the solo portfolio tag, so we'll remove it. Yeah, and we'll just go to preview again. Yeah, as you can see, the tag is not yet fired, but when I click on resume, now the resume and portfolio section tag has fired. And if you go to click here, data layer, we can't see the page section yet, but if we go on message, we can see the page section is a resume. Now to check if our tag actually works, I'll click on portfolio as well, and if I go to click here, it's still resume, but here when I click on the message, you can see that it has changed to portfolio. So we can say that our tag is working, and instead of having two separate tags for two variable pushes, we only have one tag in which we are pushing two variables simultaneously, depending on the condition that is satisfied. Right. Also, we have seen that when there's a click event, the value doesn't automatically refresh on that event. It refreshes on the message event that happens right along with it, right? So this isn't very helpful to get a message event. Like, it's not very specific. You don't know what's actually happening, right? So we'll go to Google Tag Manager and we'll go into the custom HTML code that we had written. And if you're adding another key value pair, you have to use a comma between them. All right, then hit enter, and then event. Now the event is message. It's showing us message, right? It's showing us a message, which is not very specific or not very helpful. So we'll just change it to page section update, right? Now I'll just save this, and if we were to run preview again, yeah, so we have run preview again, and I'll click on resume, and now you can see that along with the click event, the message event has been replaced with our own custom event, which is page section update. And it is quite frankly more specific to what we are looking for, because it gives us the details of it, like page section update, which page section are we on, resume. So that is another way you can simplify a data layer push. And then final part is you could also do debugging. I'll show you how. Suppose I were to remove the semicolon or remove the comma of it, and when I click save, if I go to preview, it will give you a pop-up and it will show you that these containers have the following errors, and it will also give you the description on what line do the error occurs. So see, it's showing us error at line 4, character 5. So we'll just go to the location. It said error at line 4, right? So suppose we'll just add the semicolon here now. Okay, so one of the errors we fixed, but one error still remains. We'll click save, and again we'll go to preview, and again it shows us an error. So we'll enter the comma here, save, and now when we go to preview, it won't show us any errors. So this is how you can also do debugging using JavaScript. So this was all to know about the data layer storing details, like some good practices to keep in mind, and to remember that when working with data layer, always be mindful of the case sensitive things. Like we had, for example, if I show you here, all these things, they were case sensitive. So if you were to like keep the L letter small, then it wouldn't know where to push these variables into. So your data won't go into the data layer that you're actually meaning it to go into, right? So you need to be mindful of that. And we saw some other good practices while working with data layer, while pushing values into data layer. And then we also saw how debugging works in it. So yeah, this was pretty much all for the video. Thank you for watching.